For every loved digital circus character, there was another that was equally hated, starting with one of the most despised characters in the entire show, Caine. Despite Caine going on to do some pretty controversial things in the digital circus, there was also a time where Caine wasn't so hated too. He was first introduced in the pilot as a generally helpful, goofy character, going out of his way to show Pomni around in the circus, as well as providing comic relief through his interactions with his trusty sidekick, Bubble. Fans of the show commented how, while all of the characters from the pilot were enjoyable, Caine and Bubble's dynamic was especially fun to watch. But after this series of events is when things started changing for Caine as a character in a negative way. As the episodes went on, we saw how Caine grew more and more resentful and annoyed that the circus members disagreed with some of his adventure ideas. Only fans of the show began taking issue with this after episode 8 specifically, where we saw this resentment in Caine reach its breaking point and cause a completely new side to him to take over. After the office scene near the start of the episode, we saw the complete transformation from a once helpful, goofy ringmaster to a selfish, controlling monster. This transformation sparked a massive backlash from fans, claiming how he was now their least favorite character and took things too far with his punishments for the circus members towards the end of the episode, as each one was specifically chosen to take advantage of their greatest fears. And while this change for Caine ended in the worst possible way for him, there was an opposite change that occurred for Gummigoo in the show, as before Gummigoo would continue on to receive massive praise and support from the fandom for his appearances in the show, he was originally set up to be an antagonist. You see, back in episode 2, Gummigoo was introduced as the main villain who bossed around his henchmen in order to steal the Candy Canyon Kingdom's maple syrup supply. Only we saw more to Gummigoo later on in the episode that completely went against this original role. During the NPC Out of Bounds area scene, we saw how Gummigoo completely lost all sense of reality, coming to terms with the fact that he wasn't who he thought he was. This sparked TADC fans to see him in a whole new light. I love Gummigoo. His design and his character arc are what truly made him special, with this character arc being described as something that made fans feel bad for him and root for his redemption. The fact that his life will serve no other purpose than to be an NPC makes his character even more tragic. And while Gummigoo's story was filled with tragedy, the Abel mannequin story was only tragic in the end, as this mannequin was originally set up as the savior for all of the circus members in episode 7, providing them with an escape plan from the digital circus that finally offered them what they've all been looking for: freedom. Only this freedom came with a cost. You see, the mannequin's escape plan involved the other characters taking multiple big risks against Caine's rules in order to make it out of the circus. Risks that would all unravel in a way that completely changed the show as a whole. During episode 7's ending, it was revealed how not only was the Abel mannequin's plan a lie, but his identity was as well. We were shown how Caine was the one controlling him throughout the entire episode, proving how the Abel mannequin's entire purpose was acting as a vessel for Caine's control over the other characters. While to Caine, the whole scheme was just another one of his wacky adventures, it was clear how this adventure in particular went too far. It caused TADC fans to call out how the Abel mannequin was simply a bad character. He's been watching the cast for a long time now, as we were shown during his episode 7 flashback scenes, figuring out their weaknesses and how to exploit them. Caine's NPCs aren't technically puppets for him to control, they're individual beings with thoughts and the ability to grow, which means Abel had the chance to legitimately connect and empathize with Pomni and the other characters, but instead he committed entirely to the bit of tricking them, pointing to the strong contrast between his questionable morals in the show compared to some of the other characters. Our next loved character is a perfect example of this: Kinger. While Kinger's best moments in the show he was known for would happen in later episodes, he was first introduced as completely different. We saw in the pilot how despite him clearly having a helpful and kind personality deep down, he was too spacey and scatterbrained to piece together any effective ways of using this in a way that was actually helpful. It was only in episode 3 when this began to change. It was here where we saw Kinger trapped in a dark room with Pomni. Only being in this dark room specifically is what triggered the start of his transformation from his original scatterbrained self. You see, the darkness was able to calm him down enough to the point where his true personality was finally able to come out. He was supportive and empathetic towards Pomni in a moment that she believed would be her last, something that motivated her enough to escape the room she was trapped in. This side to Kinger that helped here was also the key to the circus members' eventual freedom as well. We saw later on in episode 8 how he was the one responsible for ending Caine's control and torment over the others, staying level-headed and supportive throughout the whole process. While this change earned him widespread praise as a sort of dad character over the others who essentially couldn't be hated by anyone, something much different was going on in the case of our final character. While Jax's appearance in the show would remain controversial throughout its entire duration, we know there's a specific problem with him that made him irredeemable to many fans of the show, a problem that began back in episode 6. You see, before this point, the focus of the show was more spread out amongst all the different characters. The show's creator herself, Gooseworks, revealed how the pilot put an emphasis on Pomni's arrival, episode 2 focused on Gummigoo, episode 3 revealed more about Zubul and Kinger, episode 4 was about Gangle, and episode 5 was about Ragaba. Only from this point onwards, we saw how more and more focus was being put on Jax, something that in itself wouldn't be an awful thing, except Jax was receiving the spotlight for seemingly no reason. As the episodes progressed, with him receiving more screen time, he would essentially have no character development at all, continuing to torment the other circus members and make their lives miserable, just like he did at the start of the show. In episode 6, he fought with Pomni. In episode 7, he selfishly tried preventing the other characters from escaping the circus, and in episode 8, he dismissed any sort of responsibility for his wrongdoing, saying that nothing mattered anyways, so who cares? And while some Jax fans argue how he was finally able to turn a new leaf after his deep talk with Pomni in episode 9, we know that by this point, it was too late for Jax to come back and make up for his past actions anyways. Jax had been highlighted for the majority of the show, only for no satisfying character change to come from it, leading to many of the show's fans to call out how he took valuable screen time from the other characters and was overall a waste in the way he was portrayed. And while the Digital Circus's characters were somewhat controversial, there was a bigger controversy going on with the other characters that the Digital Circus's creators were also responsible for. You see, Glitch's other channel, SMG4, recently announced how they were passing down their torch to Zamination, leading to their beloved channel characters being involved in Zamination's new show, Calling All Villains. Only, despite the show only recently being announced, there's already been controversy surrounding its release that changed everything we thought we knew about it. And I'm fully able to put together this controversy for you into this video right here. So for what we know regarding the situation, make sure to check it out.